The sound of a body hitting the floor split the silence of the house. Ngozi dropped the ladle in her hand and ran, her heart pounding like a drum. There, on the cold cement, lay her 72-year-old mother, gasping for breath, her frail hands reaching out. At that moment, Ngozi's world collapsed into fear. She had carried the weight of her mother's care alone for months, while her sister, Chika, lived miles away in the glittering chaos of Lagos, sending money but never her presence. But now the burden was too heavy, and the question was clear. Would this rift between sisters cost them more than they were ready to lose? Welcome to Muunlight Tales, where stories are brought to life. Ngozi and Chika were like night and day. Ngozi, the elder sister, had stayed back in Asaba after finishing school, choosing a simple life as a secondary school teacher. She wasn't rich, but her heart was steady. Chika, on the other hand, had chased the city lights of Lagos, landing a banking job that paid well but left her constantly too busy. Their mother, Mama Felicia, was 72, a gentle woman whose knees had grown weaker with the years. When their father died, the care naturally fell on Ngozi. It started with small things, helping Mama to the clinic, reminding her to take her medicine, but slowly grew heavier. Cooking her meals, bathing her, staying up at night to rub her back when Mama coughed endlessly. Ngozi thought it was temporary. She assumed Chika would make time, but each time she called, the answer was the same. Ngozi, you know Lagos. Work is killing me. Please just manage for now, I'll send money. Money came, sometimes late, but money never held Mama's hand through the night or listened to her stories when she grew lonely. One evening, exhausted from work and chores, Ngozi scrolled through Instagram. There was Chika in a glittering gown at a Lagos rooftop party, wineglass in hand, flashing her white teeth. Ngozi's eyes burned with anger. While I'm here doing everything, she's out there enjoying life, she whispered bitterly. But then Mama stirred from her chair and reached out weakly, whispering, Ngozi, thank you, my daughter. You are my pillar. Ngozi swallowed hard. The words warmed her heart, but deep down she wondered how much longer she could carry the burden alone. Weeks turned into months, and the rhythm of responsibility never shifted. Every morning, Ngozi woke up before dawn to prepare Mama's pap, rush off to school to teach her classes, and return in the evening to cook yam porridge or soup before helping Mama settle into bed. Her life revolved around work and caregiving, no space for rest, no space for herself. She often picked up her phone to call Chika. The conversations followed the same pattern. Ngozi, Chika, Mama hasn't been feeling too strong. She needs her checkup this week. Can you come home for a few days? Chika sighs. Ngozi, you know how Lagos is. If I take leave, I might lose my chance for promotion. Don't worry, I'll send something tomorrow. And true to her word, an alert would come. Money for medicine, money for food. But Chika's presence, her time, her listening ear, those never came. Ngozi tried not to resent her. After all, Chika was the younger one. Maybe she didn't understand the weight of sacrifice. Still, the sting was sharp whenever she saw Chika posting her weekend brunches, birthday dinners, or beach outings with friends online. On the street, neighbors sometimes muttered quietly, Ngozi is carrying the whole burden on her head. Where is the younger one? Is Lagos that far? Their words pierced Ngozi, but she kept quiet. What could she say? One Saturday evening, after cleaning Mama's room and helping her dress, Ngozi sat outside with a deep sigh. Her friend Amara stopped by. Ngozi, my sister, Amara said gently, you are strong, but don't wear yourself out. You also deserve rest, love, and joy. Ngozi smiled faintly. Rest will come later. For now, Mama needs me. Her heart was torn, half aching from the loneliness of her burden, half consoled by the knowledge that she was doing the right thing. In Lagos, Chika scrolled past her sister's WhatsApp messages sometimes, too tired to reply. Deep inside, she told herself, "At least I'm sending money. That should be enough." But neither sister realized how this distance was slowly carving a rift so wide that even their mother's frail hands might not be able to bridge it. It was a hot Sunday afternoon when the crack became a rift. Mama had woken up weak and feverish. Her body temperature was very high. Ngozi, worried, rushed her to the clinic and spent the little she had left on tests and medication. By evening, she was drained, physically, emotionally, and financially. Back home, she dialed Chika's number, her voice shaking. "Ngozi, Chika, Mama was at the clinic today. I spent almost everything I had. You said you would send money last week, but nothing came. Do you even realize how hard this is for me?" Chika sighs. "Ngozi, calm down. I've been busy at work. Things are tough here too. Don't make it sound like I don't care. At least I send money when I can." Ngozi's chest tightened. For months she had swallowed her anger, but this time the words poured out. "Money is not everything, Chika. Do you know what it means to stay up all night when Mama is coughing? To bathe her when she's too weak to move? To miss church programs and outings because you can't leave her alone? Do you know how it feels to carry this whole responsibility while you're out there enjoying yourself?" There was a long silence. Then Chika's voice came, sharp with irritation. "Ngozi, you chose to stay in Asaba. Nobody forced you. If you wanted an easier life, you could have come to Lagos too. Don't put your frustrations on me." Ngozi's eyes stung with tears. "So that's it? I'm just the fool who stayed behind. You think sending alerts makes everything okay?" Before Chika could reply, Ngozi hung up. Her hands trembled as she dropped the phone. Mama, who had overheard bits of the conversation from her room, called out weakly, "Ngozi, please don't fight your sister. Anger will not heal me." But Ngozi couldn't stop the tears. Now she felt truly alone, not just in caring for Mama, but in carrying the weight of a broken sisterhood. In Lagos, Chika tossed her phone aside, muttering to herself, "Ngozi always exaggerates. She makes me feel like I'm the villain." But deep down, something heavy sat in her chest, a guilt she tried to ignore. The bond that once held the sisters together was now fraying, and neither of them knew how to stitch it back. The tension in the house lingered like a heavy cloud. Ngozi moved about silently, her heart weighed down not just by the chores, but by the bitter words exchanged with her sister. Even Mama could feel it. One evening after supper, Mama called Ngozi to sit beside her on the veranda. The crickets chirped in the background, and the moon hung low, silvering the compound with light. "Ngozi, my daughter," Mama began softly, "I may be old, but I see things clearly. You carry me on your shoulders and you do it with love. Don't let anger spoil your heart." Ngozi's eyes watered. "Mama, I'm pained. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who cares. Chika just sends money and excuses. She doesn't know how heavy this is." Mama reached out with trembling hands and placed them over Ngozi's. "Your sister is young and chasing life in Lagos. She does not understand yet. But you are walking the harder road, and though it feels lonely, God sees. The world may not clap for you now, but blessings do not hide forever." Ngozi looked down, her voice breaking. "But Mama, sometimes I envy her. She dresses well, goes to nice places, lives freely, and here I am, stuck." Mama smiled faintly, her wrinkles deepening. "Ngozi, there is a reward in caring for those who once cared for you. I was strong once. I carried you both. Now you carry me. Tomorrow others will carry you in honor. Do not let bitterness steal that blessing." The words sank deep, wrapping Ngozi's heart like a balm. She didn't feel less tired, But for the first time in weeks, she felt seen, valued. Later that night, Mama whispered a prayer before bed. God, please bless Ngozi with joy beyond her imagination, and open Chika's eyes before it is too late. In Lagos, Chika sat in her apartment, staring at the city lights. Something inside tugged at her, the echo of her sister's angry voice, the weight of her own absence. She poured another glass of wine to silence it, but guilt has a way of lingering, even in luxury. On a Thursday morning, Ngozi was getting ready for school when she heard a loud thud in Mama's room. She dropped everything and rushed in. Mama was on the floor, her face pale, her breathing shallow. "Mama! Mama!" Ngozi cried, shaking her gently. Panic rose in her chest. With trembling hands, she dialed Chika immediately. The call connected, and Ngozi's voice was frantic. "Chika, it's Mama. She collapsed. We're on the way to the hospital. You need to come home, please, Chika. Come home now." For the first time, Chika's confident voice broke. "Collapsed? Oh, God, I'll leave work right away. I'm coming tonight." Ngozi barely heard her. She was already at the hospital, pacing the waiting area while doctors examined Mama. Hours crawled by. Ngozi's dress was damp with sweat, her eyes swollen from tears. That night, Chika arrived in Asaba, heels clicking against the hospital floor, makeup smeared from crying during the long bus ride. When she saw Ngozi curled up in a chair, head resting on her hands, her heart clenched. "How is she?" Chika whispered, her voice trembling. Ngozi lifted her face, weary and swollen-eyed. For a moment, silence hung heavy between them, months of resentment, unspoken words, and anger all standing in the gap. But before Ngozi could reply, the doctor appeared. "She is stable now," he said gently, "but at her age we need constant monitoring and care. She must not be left alone." Chika pressed her palm against her chest, relief washing over her. But guilt followed quickly behind. For the first time, she realized how much her sister had carried alone. That night, in the small hospital room, the two sisters sat on either side of their mother's bed. Mama slept peacefully, her hand resting in Ngozi's. Chika watched silently, tears sliding down her cheeks. She whispered, almost to herself, "Ngozi, I'm sorry. I should have been here sooner." Ngozi didn't reply immediately. She just looked at her sister, saw the fear in her eyes, and realized, for the first time, Chika was seeing the weight of caregiving. It was the beginning of a change neither of them had planned for. Chika stayed in Asaba longer than she had planned. The first few days were rough. Her polished Lagos routines clashed with the quiet, demanding rhythm of caregiving. On the second morning, Mama woke coughing violently. Chika sprang up in panic, fumbling for water while Ngozi calmly rubbed Mama's back. When the coughing eased, Ngozi handed her sister the medicine bottle. "2 tablets, after she eats," Ngozi said tiredly. Chika's hands shook as she tried to open the container. She glanced at her sister. "You do this every day?" Ngozi gave a small nod, her eyes weary but steady. "Every day. Every night the weight of it landed heavily on Chika's chest." She remembered all the times she had waved off Ngozi's calls with, "I'll send money." For the first time, she realized money couldn't wipe sweat from Mama's brow at 2 a.m., or steady, trembling hands, or keep loneliness at bay. That evening, after Mama had drifted off to sleep, the sisters sat outside on the veranda. The silence was heavy until Chika finally spoke. "Ngozi, I was wrong," her voice cracked. "I thought sending money was enough. But being here, seeing everything you've carried, I feel ashamed." Ngozi didn't respond immediately. She stared at the stars, remembering the nights she cried alone after bathing Mama, the anger she had swallowed when Chika posted her glamorous photos online. "Do you know how many nights I begged God for strength?" Ngozi finally whispered. Do you know how lonely it feels, Chika? Watching you live freely while I was buried in this? Tears slipped down Chika's face. She reached for her sister's hand. I didn't see it. I was selfish, but I want to do better. Please forgive me. Ngozi looked at her sister, the guilt in her eyes, the sincerity in her voice. Slowly, she squeezed Chika's hand. It's not about me, Chika. It's about Mama. She doesn't have much time left. If we keep fighting, we'll regret it forever. Chika nodded, tears rolling freely. Then we'll carry her together. Mama recovered slowly, but the scare had changed everything. Chika extended her leave from work and spent weeks in Asaba learning the rhythm of caregiving. She bathed Mama, cooked her meals, and stayed up through long nights. It humbled her, softened her, and drew her closer to Ngozi. Mama, sitting under the mango tree one evening, looked at both daughters and said, I am happy. My children are one again. 2 months later, Mama passed away peacefully in her sleep. Her last words had been prayers, blessings whispered over Ngozi and Chika. Though their hearts ached, there was no bitterness between them, only unity. After the burial, Chika returned to Lagos with a new resolve. She often told her friends, I saw what it means to care for a parent. My sister taught me that love is more than money. Her respect for Ngozi grew deeper, and their bond was restored. Not long after, something unexpected happened. During the burial arrangements, one of Mama's old friends, a retired principal, had seen how Ngozi cared for her mother with dignity and patience. Quietly impressed, he recommended Ngozi for a new position that had opened at a prestigious private school in town. A few weeks later, Ngozi received a letter. She had been offered the role of vice principal with a salary 10 times what she earned before. It was the kind of opportunity she had never dreamed of, the kind that would change her life. When she called Chika to share the news, her sister cried on the phone. Ngozi, you see? God has rewarded you. You carried the weight, and now joy has found you. Ngozi smiled, tears in her own eyes. Mama said blessings do not hide forever. From then on, the sisters stood side by side, not just as siblings, but as women who had walked through bitterness, caregiving, and grief, and had come out with love stronger than ever. And in the quiet of her new office on her first day as vice principal, Ngozi looked at her mother's framed photo on her desk and whispered, Thank you, Mama. Your blessing is alive in me. The lesson of this story is that taking care of aging parents may feel like a heavy burden, but hidden in that sacrifice are seeds of blessings. Love given in service always returns in practical, unexpected rewards. We have come to the end of this story. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.